Right, so what is up, everybody? Welcome to today's live stream. It is your host, Cody, your Caped Crusader. We are here with my good friend, Manny Shape of Crudo, and we are keeping it geekly. Welcome, everybody. This is our first time going live on Twitter, and I am excited. So I'm going to try my best to keep the comments, keep looking at them. We are on multiple platforms as of today: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. So, Manny, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? And yeah, man, it's such a beautiful Sunday today.
I'm chilling, like multimedia. Look at you, Cody. You got it all down, man.
Yeah, dude. Let's go. Let's go, man.
No, I'm doing great. I'm up in Seattle area, and we got some sunshine. So went on a run this morning and got some sun, and yeah, we're due for the spring and summertime up here. It's been a long, rainy winter.
Oh man. Hey, Dr. Hino 419 in the chat over at YouTube. How are you doing? Good afternoon, my friend. Yeah, I'm in Ohio, so Ohio is kind of It was like 3 days ago. It was snowing. It was 80 degrees yesterday. I mowed. Such a fantastic time. But Manny, let's cut right to the chase. How are you doing? You have your fifth installment of this book on Kickstarter as of right now. $1,967 of $500. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Man, that is so awesome. You've been going, what, 10 days on it already?
Yeah, we're about a third of the way through. But yeah, Crudo 5. This is our fifth chapter. We've already published 4 books, and the fifth book is on Kickstarter right now. Art is 100% done, so we just set it up to where we're going to raise some funds to go to print. So we had a really low bar because we're going to make the book regardless. So yeah, we're just trying to raise some money to print some books and get them out to the people. So super stoked on this campaign. It's been going well. We got an awesome book. So I'm just trying to get the word out, man. More people need to know about this book. It's going to be rad. So
and man, it's such an interesting concept. I remember when we first touched base. I want to say it was at least a month ago. I've been like really eyeballing it and staying up to date. It's a story about an orangutan trained by the United States Marine Corps, stuck behind enemy lines during the Vietnam War. Like that, just there's so much that goes on to it. Because like when I think of the Vietnam War, I just think of all the room and the opportunity for these orangutans just to go like completely like quote unquote ape shit. You know what I mean? Like. So that setting is just like awesome. What drove you to want to do some sort of spin like this on the orangutans in the United States Marine Corps?
Well, what drives us to spin? That's a good question. You know, just like sometimes you have ideas, right? And Crudo, I mean, it's like an amalgamation of a bunch of different concepts. I mean, even like all the way back to Captain America, you know, where you have like that special, military scientist, and that whole concept of like military experimentation to try to make different weapons, I think is a pretty common trope. It's pretty well established in not just comic books but other media. So we kind of take that concept. I've always been a fan of apes, especially orangutans. I say this on pretty much every stream, but orangutan's been my favorite animal since I was like 7. So it was obvious to me that it was going to be an orangutan. And then when you the fact that it's an ape, it allows you to explore a lot of different things, as opposed to it being a person. And then also the Vietnam War is just nuts. It's like the craziest time in human history. So that also gives us an opportunity to explore some crazy stuff. So it's not just like a straight up war comic. Like we tried to get a little weird, try to get a little, existential at times. And yeah, it's been a fun project. So yeah, we just got this crazy ape stuck behind enemy lines in Vietnam doing a bunch of crazy stuff. So we're having a good time with it.
So what was it when you were 7 that drove your love for the orangutan? Did you like maybe a trip to the zoo or some sort of media film, or?
You know what? You know how you have to do like a book report on animals? Like I had to do like a book report, or it was like a report in 2nd grade or something like that. And for whatever reason, I picked the orangutan, and then ever since then I've just been drawing monkeys, and so I've been drawing monkeys for 20 something years, right? So I don't know what it is. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate apes. I think that their relationship to us as humans and our similarities is super interesting and fascinating. So I just think of ourselves as just a different iteration of an ape.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the what is it? The amount of like chromosomes or the DNA is like between us and apes is just like such a small trace amount. Like that's our closest relative out of anything on this earth.
Oh yeah, I got a shirt that says 98.7% bonobo. That's one of my.
So, what was your thoughts on Maurice then? Maurice was actually one of my favorite characters from Planet of the Apes. We were talking about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes is rad. I grew up with watching Planet of the Apes, you know, the Charlton Heston stuff. I found that to be a really interesting swap of, you know, civilization versus barbarism, right? In this case, the apes are civilization and the humans are barbarism.
I love that twist, yeah.
Super interesting concept, and that it was a book. I actually haven't read the book, but they nailed it. And then the movies, the last 3 movies, I've really enjoyed. I think that they really conceptualized the origin story pretty well. So yeah, I'm all about it. Like, I'll watch that stuff all day if you let me.
God, I love Caesar so much too. He's such an awesome like protagonist, for real.
Yeah, those looks too, and that CGI, like they really mesh. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of things have to go right for that to work, and it worked for me. So yeah.
So did you draw like any inspiration from the way they handled themselves? Because I mean, they were arming themselves with weapons and taking down the humans with force. I mean, you know, I'm interested if there was any correlation between the two.
You know, this book. So El Crudo is actually from a short story that I wrote a long time ago. So back in like 2008 was when I first wrote El Crudo. So this was well before the Planet of the Apes trilogies. But I don't think, you know, there's apes with guns is a trope that we're happy to contribute to that trope. But it's like a long established trope. So you know, there's a lot of different variances of that, and you know, El Crudo is one of those. But no, I can't say that I drew inspiration directly from Planet of the Apes or any of the new ones. This work that I'm doing now is actually based off of a product that we created a long time ago. We're just now getting it out into comic form.
What other what have you done other comics previously then, or has this been something like
No. So I started off doing a bunch of creative writing. I wanted to be a writer as a young man. Just could never really get anything. I used to submit short stories to different magazines and stuff, and never really got anything going. El Crudo was one of them. We made like a little flash animation. We shopped that around to a couple of different places. I got a little bit of interest. Nothing ever materialized out of it. And then, you know, I went ahead and went back to school and got a career and all that stuff. And then, you know, about 4 or 5 years ago, this El Crudo just always stuck with me. It was always a project that I believed in and that I liked. I thought it had a lot of potential, and so I rounded up some of my friends who now were employed and had money, and I took a little seed money, and I said, hey, this is how much it's going to cost. This is what I want to do, and so we got, you know, a few $100 together here and there, scraped by, and then we launched EK1, and then that was what, 3 years ago.
So it's your friends that are like contributing to the project, or were they helped you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They helped me launch it. So EK1, I have like 5-6 core contributors. So EK1 was fully funded by us, and then now I've been selling EK1, right? So then I used all the money from EK1 to fund EK2, and et cetera. So we're just taking all the money that we generate and just dump it right back into.
So what was that EK1 about? If you could give us like a short summary.
EK1's like the setup. So El Crudo 1, it's called Enter the Sausage Grinder. All right, this is the one where he's diving face first out of a helicopter. So this is just how does he get into Vietnam, right? What is the circumstances? Essentially, there's an outpost up in the Vietnam highlands. It's getting ambushed. Reinforcements are too far away. So for a last-ditch effort, they're like, well, we got this experimental program. We've dumped a bunch of money in. Let's just see what happens. And they're like, well, we can't dump them all in, right? Because these apes are too expensive. And he's like, fine, let's just send in El Crudo, see what happens. El Crudo gets dropped in. The outpost is still overrun by the Viet Cong, and he gets stuck behind enemy lines. So that's the intro. El Crudo 1, Enter the Sausage Grinder.
So what's the meaning behind El Crudo? What was the reasoning behind that name for him?
So El Crudo is Spanish for the raw. But you really spell it with a C, but I just spelled it with a K. In fact, the first writings that I had, it was with the C. I changed it about 5-6 years ago. So that was actually my nickname in college. I used to work at a Mexican food restaurant in college. I was bussing tables, and I was a bartender for a little bit. And sometimes I'd work the day shifts, and I liked to party. And so I'd come in I'd come in at like 10:30. I'd come in at like 10:30, and all the cooks would yell, "Crudo!" And that Crudo means raw, right? So that's also what you say when you're hungover. You're like Crudo. You're raw. So I take that raw component, and then El Crudo also means like new. So it also means like like a rookie would be new. In English you would say they're green. So that's another connotation. And then there's also the fact that he's just like super raw and primal, like he's uncooked. He's like an uncooked human. So I try to take like all three, multiple different concepts, and a lot of that stuff sprinkled throughout the book. And so now that I said those references, if you ever do get around to reading it, it'll kind of click with you, because I kind of dropped some of those hints throughout.
Yeah, man. So my man used to be a party man, coming in there like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's go, dude.
Yeah, so, now I'm sipping cider on a Sunday. So
drinking water.
I haven't fallen too far from that tree, my man.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So you used the basis of EK1 to fund EK2. Was there any sort of Kickstarter for the second issue?
No, I didn't start doing Kickstarters until the third issue.
Wow.
Before that, in 2018, I didn't have enough material. So what I did was door to door. I got into like every comic book store. I would sell on the streets of Eugene, Oregon. They have like this outdoor activity zone permit where you can just sell on the street. So I'd be out there selling, like I'd park up on a Saturday, hang out for like 4 hours, and just, hey man, you like monkeys? Hey man, you like comics? Hey, you like movies? Hey, you like anybody that walked by, I'd try to sell the book. And I used to sell. I used to sell 4 or 8 books an hour or something like that.
Wow.
So that's really where
awesome, though.
Yeah, I was really just street level. I'm in a lot of stores. I'd sell a lot online, a lot on eBay.
So was that something like having that sort of like, because I mean, that's a big comfort stretch. Like, was that something that you're used to, or did you just like, if I'm going to do this, I have to do this?
I just so it's my thing too, but it's also a team sport. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the only one that put in work into this. Zeros, the artist on 1 through 3, he's put in tons of work. We have a great team of people now on EK4 and 5, and they deserve it, right? So they deserve like all the effort that I can give out. So I'm trying to use every channel open to me. So that responsibility is on me, right? I got a lot of respect for that, man. They believed in the project enough to donate their time, and of course we pay our artists, but still they could work on other books, right? You know what I mean? They don't have to work on El Crudo. So I respect that, and it's my job to get out there and hustle to make sure that it sees the light, because they made awesome books. Like, we made awesome books together, and they deserve my effort to get it out, because
that's so awesome, dude.
It doesn't do any good. It doesn't do any good sitting in a long box in a shed. You know what I mean? So so we made these books to be read, and there's no way to get people to read a comic other than asking them. Nobody's coming looking for me, so I have to get out there and show them what we got, and hopefully we'll find some people that dig it and stick around for a while.
Real quick, by the way, guys, here is the link to the Kickstarter if you're interested. We're going to be breaking down the campaign in just a little bit, but I just wanted to give you guys that link to check it out yourself if you're interested. We have Dr. Hino in the chat saying this is such an interesting idea, reminds them of Black Hops. I've never had a chance to see Black Hops.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've seen it come up the last couple years, but I haven't actually read any of it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's nothing real new under the sun. I'm not, I know that there's a lot of great books out there, but I think we're doing something pretty unique with El Crudo.
No, absolutely. So with 2 and 3, let's kind of start painting the picture for 5. What do we see happen in 2 and 3? With El Crudo stuck behind enemy lines in issue number 1.
Sure. So in episode 2, we kind of flip it on its head. So episode 1, you kind of get this. We set it up to where you think it's just going to be this, head ripping orangutan in Vietnam book, right? Because it's all action, it's all war, all that. And then you get into 2, and there's really no action at all in episode 2. We really I dive into the psyche of El Crudo a little bit more and start to talk about his perspective, right? So it's all about the perspective of an ape who was raised by the military, conditioned by the military, to hate the Viet Cong, all of these things. So we explore some of that. I also really explore the bad guy, right? Because the villains, what good's a story without a gnarly villain?
Yeah.
So we really get into the villain, Major Dang. So that's episode 2. I really just kind of set up and contextualize some of these larger themes that we're trying to address. I mean, not that we take ourselves crazy seriously, but we're trying to make a cool book, right? We're trying to there's something that we're trying to say with this book, more or less. Episode 3 is El Crudo takes down an opium farm. In that book, we kind of explore a little bit more of El Crudo's psyche. We also explore different concepts of a lot. There's a lot of different things in there, but yeah, El Crudo 3 is on the cover. You see he's like stabbing a guy in the middle of it.
And that cover is so like gorgeous as well.
Yeah, we wanted to make something that was like unapologetic, right? So it's like, you just got a crazy orangutan, huge blood, and opium poppies. I don't know if you're familiar with how opium poppies look, but so that's El Crudo 3, takes on an opium farm. El Crudo 4, so he gets opium in El Crudo 3. El Crudo 4, he smokes some opium, and then he has a
Is it kind of like a good cop that doesn't mean to do it, or did he just go?
No, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he knows what that's right, dude. You haven't read it, man. I forgot you haven't read it. So he has this opium-induced dream, which goes back to his flashback. We use like 4 different art styles to tell the story of his childhood, his upbringing. So that's how we do the origin stories in El Crudo 4. So it's like an opium-based dream.
I really liked there was an image you sent me of him like when he was younger and he was like getting tested and schooled, like putting together blocks and doing testing. And I really liked that scene, watching him like develop from a young ape. That was so awesome. Like how did you like, I guess like devise that in your head, like to kind of go that in depth with his upbringing? I mean, it was just so unique. I've never really seen anything like it.
I spend a lot of time with this. Like, it takes me about 9 months to make a book, right? So I know, again, I have a pretty rich amount of material to pull off of, because this all comes from a short story that I wrote. So a lot of this, I'm using stuff that I've written over the past, 10 plus years. So, there's a lot of good material there. And then once I dive into the page panel layout, I think like, okay, how do I tell this within, because it's a short story, how do I tell this within a comic book? Because a comic book is a very specific medium, right? It has right pages and left pages. It has page flips. It has to read from left to right, right? So I really take that seriously. And actually, that's like a really fun part for me too. Is say, okay, I know what I want to say in this X number of pages or whatever, or throughout this part of the book. How am I going to do it within the medium? And how can I do it? And I pay a lot of attention to pacing. So how do I do it in a way that's not boring, that's not too fast, that works within itself? So I spent a lot of time in the craftsmanship of like the comic book medium itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're referring to. It's like, okay, well, I know that we have to train El Crudo, right, from being just an ape to how do we actually get him to to be a warrior at the United States Marine Corps. And when you approach it from that, I build off the source material, and then I'll do 4, 5, 6 different versions of a page, and then or pages, and then if something works and I like it, every once in a while I get a flash of inspiration, and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, and then
it's so crazy
out.
that this was just based from a short story. What was the short story for? Was it like a college like assignment or a high school assignment?
No, I'm one of those people that have always been creating stuff. So even since I was like a little kid, I've always just made stuff. Whether it's I used to write a lot, I used to draw, I used to make like radio programs on like wave files. I used to play guitar, play music, record music. I've always done something, and I'm not happy unless I'm making something. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to make a career out of it because I have a career, and I can't imagine selling that many comic books to match the salary. Like, that's a lot of comic books, you know what I mean? I don't think there's that much in indie comics. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's like I still have this huge creative bent, but to be but I'm also I'm also a professional, and I do enjoy some aspects of my career.
You know,
as well.
but I mean, sometimes like it'd be nice to have like all day to dedicate to it, but sometimes having that time frame where you're forced to kind of work through it. Like for me, like I would love to do this all day, but I don't think I would be as nearly like well organized or structured if I was, because sometimes like when I don't work, if I have a day off and I don't work, I get lazy. I'll sit on the couch or something. I'm not motivated because I have all day to do it. If I have to go to work or something, like I know like, hey, I need to get this done in like 3 hours or it's not getting done.
I can't see you being lazy. You're a hustler. Who are you kidding? No, man. Have you ever really been bored? I mean, you got free time, you fill it up with stuff,
Yeah.
But for me, El Crudo is like, so sometimes work, career can be stressful, right? Work can be stressful. Having that time to just draw monkeys, put on headphones, listen to hip hop. It's really therapeutic for me as well. So yeah, I don't know. And I thought about that too. If I wanted to do El Crudo full time. And my wife asks me all the time, if you were successful, do you want to do this full time? I don't know. I don't really know. I mean, I have a pretty interesting job, so it's not.
You can talk about it if you want to, but I don't want to ask.
No. I don't want to talk about the job. That's not.
Yeah, you're fine.
Come on, man. I'm decompressing here. I want to talk monkeys.
All right. Let's. Hey, so
what I'm saying is like I do appreciate the balance. I think that's what you're getting at. It's like that balance, right? Of like, you got this, and then you got this project in. That you're doing, right? You're doing this creative project as well, and it's keeping you honest. You know what I mean? It's like you got that slated time. So I'm religious on my time too. Like Thursday nights, Saturdays, I block out time, and that's what I'm doing as
we the great minds think alike. Like for me, I'm a dad. I got 3 kids. So there's that. I wanted to get this interview in. That's why, normally I don't pick this time frame, but I was able to get them bonded up with some Kirby, so they're good. And I really wanted to talk about this because it looks so awesome. It looks so good. We have Dr. Hino in the chat saying they really like the blend of colors. They could tell it's really thought out. I think the color is phenomenal. So you said you do some art in it as well?
Well, I do all the storyboarding and stuff. I do all the layouts. So like, I don't know if I have any sample. No, I'm a horrible artist. I'm a horrible artist, but I think so visually, and it's all in my head. Like I have like a sense of things, so I'll do my best to get it out on paper.
Isn't that like the worst curse? Like I have so much in my head too, but when I draw, it looks just horrendous.
Let me see if I can. So like I have like just chicken scratch, like that's just how So I'll do a bunch of these, and then I'll chop them up and put them into page panel layout, see how it works, and then I send them off to the artist, and then we collaborate. So.
No, I got you. So we left off with EK getting smoking some opium. What happens next? What bleeds into say your prayers?
Sure. So what bleeds into say your prayers is in EK3 he burnt down an opium farm, but that opium farm was a cash crop, right? And that was generating revenue for the Viet Cong, right? So Major Dang, who is the villain, he's like an anyway, you'll see after you read it. He sends like a bunch of Viet Cong to patrol the area, right? Because he thinks that it's just they found some evidence. They think it's an American that burned down their opium farm, so they're trying to scour the jungles and figure out who did it. They think it's just 1 or 2 guys for some reasons that are articulated. And so that's where we are in EK5. EK5 is a Viet Cong doing a sweep of the jungle, looking for a couple Americans who burned down the opium farm, but they're not going to find them. In fact, they're going to find something else.
Oh man, and I would not want to go up against an opium infused like orangutan. That just seems like it would be a nightmare. So let's go ahead. Perfect transition into the Kickstarter. So we're going to add that to the stream. And we are good to go when you want to. So if you scroll at your own pace, and if you want to, we could start with the movie.
I have another trailer. This one's just kind of, I think we covered a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
I kind of give a brief synopsis. I do want to highlight that art is 100% complete for this book. It's not like we're raising money and we think that we're going to have a book in a year or something like that. The book's done. We're just raising money to go to print. I don't know if you've ever backed Kickstarters that never fulfilled, but we will never do that. We will never collect anybody's money unless they're going to get the project that they supported. So our book's done. We're just raising money to go to print.
Hey, you said this was all funded from issue 4, right?
Yeah, we did actually pretty well with EK4. So EK4 was a success for us. And so we just kind of took that and reinvested it. So, yeah, so we're definitely, and then
that's
with
an
EK5
awesome formula with everything kind of like funding the next project and the next project. I mean, it seems like it takes a lot of having to do the Kickstarter, just like you're doing this to kind of just get it to physical format, which I think is like it's awesome because like there basically is no risk, right?
Yeah, that's the main benefit of not having to like the artists are professional, like everybody are professional that are on. Like really, I'm the only one not making any money off this book, which is fine for now because like I'm playing the long game, right? Like we're not trying to, like I mentioned, I'm not trying to make a buck off EK5. I'm trying to play the long game. We have a solid IP. We have a really good project. I believe in it, and I believe in it long term. So that's why I'm able to do this. And I imagine there's a lot of comic creators that probably would have to charge a higher price. Yeah, because they're hoping for that to generate revenue, but I'm just not in that position.
It's also your dream and your passion, right? Like you're seeing your short story from 10, 15 years ago like come to light and unfold. That has to be amazing within itself.
Yeah, but I'm glad that it's able to pay for itself, right? Because there's no way making comics is not free. It's not cheap. So yeah, the fact that we've been able to find people that are interested in the book, that are willing to contribute their hard-earned money to like support the project, total strangers, right? That's so awesome, and I'm so grateful for everybody that wants to support the project, because as much as I want to do this as my love, like there's no way that we could do it without the support of other people. That's super awesome, and I don't take that lightly. Definitely watch the trailer. The trailer's sick. It was done by a good friend, Jordan Krager. Well, I wouldn't say a good friend, an acquaintance. I meant super chill. Definitely recommend checking out Jordan Krager. He does Tiger Boy versus any comic creator. So yeah, the synopsis, we already talked about the synopsis. El Crudo is an orangutan raised by the United States Marine Corps, stuck behind enemy lines in the Vietnam War. Here's some sample art. This is training. There's like a training montage. This is some art from El Crudo.
So gorgeous too.
El Crudo 5.
I mean, there's so much you could do with just like the jungle environment. Like I'm excited. Like I said, when I seen the digital catch up it was like $6, I was like, that is a steal, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're really trying to make it accessible to anybody who hasn't seen it. I mean, we don't. I think EK4. I think I sold like 250 books. Like, we think this thing has legs. We think that it has more potential than that. So I don't want price to be a barrier. I know that crowdfunding projects can be really expensive. I just want anybody who's interested, if they see El Crudo and if they hear the pitch and they're at all interested, I don't want to make dollars be a barrier at all. Especially people that support Kickstarters. Like sometimes they'll support 5, 10, 20 a month, and that can be expensive. Yeah. I definitely don't want to contribute to burning out people's wallets, because comics are awesome. They deserve to be spread. And I know that if you get in on El Crudo 5 and you read 1 through 5, that we're pretty confident that you'll come back for 6 and 7 and 8, right? So we really believe in the product, and I don't want dollars to be a barrier.
Yeah, the catch up is the same price as a PDF, like that I would typically just back. You know what I mean? Like I was pretty much floored. I was like, wow, like this is an instant steal for me right now. For anyone that's interested, right there is the El Crudo 5 Save Your Prayers Kickstarter link. Be sure to check that out. And like we said, you can get 1 through 5 digitally for just $6. I mean, that's just a steal for 5 comic books. Like how many pages are each?
Total in that $6 package, it's a little over 200. It's like 202.
Wow. That you can get a week's worth of reading material for just $6. Outstanding.
Yeah. And then we'll see you for EK6, which is we're already in production on that one. So stretch goals. We have a new title. So I'm making a new comic book, and we're going to include. I made this like really quick 12-page ash can. So we're going to include that with every single physical order. So if you order a physical tier, and actually if you're doing a digital tier, I'll make sure that you get the digital as well. It'll be in the digital folder. So that was, I just wanted to raise some money for that too. So we're going to put a little bit of money towards our 12-page ash can. which is actually really exciting for us. EK trading card. I made the we made the what's it called, template for a trading card. It was actually super fun to do. So I really like making a trading card, and now I'm just gonna take some of these funds. If we get to 2,000, I'm gonna take some of the funds and just print some and include
That's
them in
awesome.
4,000. I kind of wanted to do a custom poster. So we'll see. I mean, we're still far away from that, but we still have time. We'll still have time, but I'd like to include posters. I'm a big wall art fan, as you can see, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
here's the team, myself. That's my avatar, as you may or may not know. I used to do interviews in a full gorilla suit. I don't know if you've seen those. Have you seen those?
No, I haven't. You probably were dying in that thing, huh?
No, we did. We shot a couple takes and we cut it. If you go to our El Crudo YouTube page, you'll see.
No, I got you.
We did like a mockumentary with Spinal Tap. We did like a Spinal Tap-esque thing. Anyway, check that out. Andres Ponce, he's our lead on lines and pens. He's got a rad book out coming right now called The Ward with Dark Horse. He's been with El Crudo since EK4. Love working with Andres. We work pretty well together. He's on board for EK6 too. He's just wrapping up a couple things. German Nobile, he's on colors. So all those colors that you're seeing, German's he's an absolute master.
Phenomenal.
I don't know what we do without him. I've been working with German for 3 years now. He started working with us on EK3, doing a lot of different stuff. Rick Joseph, Canadian legend, letterer. He's also an artist himself. He's got a couple books out. Definitely check out Rick Joseph. He goes by Light a Match on that's his handle on some different platforms. As you know, we've already published EK 1 through 4, so we got the book. So anytime you buy a combo pack where you get them all, again, there's very limited risk. We already got the books, they're printed, and hopefully this demonstrates that we know how to make a book.
Yeah, so, you guys are like firing on all cylinders. Like, yeah, I've done quite a bit of interviews, and like there hasn't really been a whole lot that have been like this complete. Like you know, it's pretty phenomenal. And that has to take a lot of like the stress of like getting it done after the campaign funds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I try to keep this as stress-free as possible for myself because it's pretty stressful. Like making a book's not easy, you know. And so I wait until all the ducks are aligned. And the last thing I want to do is disappoint anybody that trusted us. So that's why we make sure that we're really far along in the project before we ask people for money. The last thing we're ever going to do is take people's money and not deliver. So now that we know what we're doing, I feel pretty good about it. Printing is always a pain in the ass. I hate going to printers, but I've gone through anyway. So printing is always a pain, but I'm pretty confident we can get it done. So we got 4 books ready to go. I reinforce that art is 100% complete. Here's some of the reviews. You can check those out. I think my favorite one is from it's Mr. Stanley, who says, "Pardon my language, but your books are effing legendary."
That's awesome.
Then we have a little quiz if you would like. So we try to see when you hear our book, some people might like it, some people don't. So this is a quiz to tell if you think you'll like the book or not. It's kind of silly. I'll go through it, but number 1 is comic books are only superhero stuff. Lauren disagrees. Question 2 is violence depicted in artistic media is a cancer upon society that must be stopped for the sake of civilization. Lauren disagrees. Profanity is the effort of a feeble brain to express itself forcibly. Disagree. I think apes are rad. Agree. So Lauren
will agree.
Yeah. So Lauren thinks El Crudo is dope, right? And that's how you can tell. If you answered anything like Lauren, you'll probably like El Crudo. Anyway, that's just a little joke. I don't know if it's funny or not, but
no, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's our campaign. More or less. So yeah, thanks for letting me run through that.
Do you want to break down the tiers on the side, like the different pricing bundles you have?
Yeah, sure. Let me go through the tiers. As you mentioned, we do have a $6 tiers for the digital. You'll get digitals 1 through 5, plus you get the digital of the ash can. And thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, absolutely.
$12. This is for people who've already gotten 1 through 4. So we have we have a pretty good chunk of people that are looking forward to EK5. I just need to make sure they know about it. Right, that's my job. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, with $12 you get the physical, and then we're going to include an ash can. So it's actually 48 pages.
Wow. Hey, and I mean, not getting the word out, I guess, as much as you think you could, like you quadrupled your funding in 10 days. That right there is outstanding, dude.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Wow.
We're working on it. And we have anybody, if you've talked to anybody that's supported our campaign in the past, we have a pretty cool swag bag.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel good when we made some dope stickers. We got some other dope stuff that we'll be sending out.
I really like that koozie too. You sent me a picture of like a beer koozie. Yeah, that thing's awesome. He's like,
yeah.
This?
So we'll definitely. So yeah. So the $12, it's actually pretty good value. Like we send a lot of cool stuff. Crudo Fan Edition. This one. What do we do with this one? I forget. Yeah. So we include like the mini poster. We got some prints that we're going to include, like some limited edition stuff. This is just for people who want to support a little bit extra to the project.
Mm-hmm.
We have a starter pack. So for $30, you can get Crudo 1 through 5, all 5 books, 200 pages of art, for $30 shipped to your house, and we'll include the cool swag bag and everything.
Yeah, wow. And that's a good price in itself too. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's actually a really good value. It's probably one of the better values that you'll find on Kickstarter.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, we just need to get the word out. We're trying to cover some costs, and we're trying to generate some revenue to reinvest in the project. So that's kind of where we're at with this. But yeah, and it comes with a cool swag bag. And I said it's $30 shipped to your house. It's actually, I think there's shipping involved too. I think it's like $8 or $9 to ship, but comes in a Gemini mailer. Super Fan Edition. We made these styrene prints. I don't know if you can see. They're like,
that is so cool. I love those things.
Some mounted prints. So those are dope of the cover. I got some friends that have, so we made these for all of our books, and I have some friends that have them like mounted on in their offices and stuff.
Dude, so that has to be such an awesome feeling too, to have like all your friends like supporting you like that in depth with it.
Oh, they love it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
dude.
Well, I mean, also we grew up together, so it's like we all tell the same jokes, so it's like,
yeah.
So we all get it what I'm trying to do.
Do they think it's insane that you took your nickname and made, like, that's like the comic name now? Like,
nah, it's pretty par for the course. Like everybody, yeah. I mean, we've been talking about Crudo for years, so I think everybody's really happy that I stuck with it. Because they do appreciate it and they do think it's cool, but yeah, I don't think there was nobody was like shocked. You know what I mean? Nobody was shocked that I did this. It's just kind of my personality.
Well, I meant that you used your nickname for it.
Yeah,
like the name. Yeah. That's awesome. Sure. It's awesome how it all ties together though too. Like just like how personal it is. Like, man, I'm in love with this already. And
hey, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're definitely having fun with it. It's a blast. I mean, you can see why I'm still doing it, right? It's so much fun. Then we have a Crazy Fan Edition. This one, we made these metal prints, and I don't have any handy, but it's like a 8x12 mounted metal print. I don't know if you've seen those, like high quality.
Where it's like the character's like risen a little bit off of the metal plate a little bit.
No. It's like if you ever go into like a fine art shop or like a fine art like photography shop. Some of those guys and gals will have they'll have metal prints. Anyway, I found a metal print manufacturer, and so we made some, and they're dope. They're actually really cool. So that's at the 120 tier, and we're also making shirts. We're making Prophesize Productions t-shirts.
That is so cool.
Sending those out. 170. This is for some of my friends. They always hand them out to their friends, help spread the word. So this is 4 of everything. It'll come with 4 starter packs, and then it'll come with some other stuff too, like the mounted print and t-shirts and stuff. But this is just for I call it the distribution network. So I have some other people that might be interested in this, where they want to get it and give it as a gift. I've had some people give them as gifts before. So that's what this pledge is. And then we do have one tier that nobody's picked up yet. I don't know if anybody will. My one friend who mentioned that they wanted it, I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on it. We're doing I commissioned German to do a watercolor painting, And the watercolor painting is like El Crudo, like standing on top of a cliff, like with the sunset behind him, and he's holding like a giant bazooka, and he's kind of like leaning over the cliff.
That's
So
awesome.
so yeah, so that's a one of a kind. It's 17 by 11 by 17 watercolor painting for $320. Plus, you'll get a bunch of other stuff. Shipping on that's a little bit expensive because it's like fine art. So,
Yeah.
So I think it's like $30 or $35 to ship. But yeah, so those are the tiers. That one's still open. So if anybody wants a super rad watercolor 11 by 17 of a crazy ape in Vietnam, we got that.
No, absolutely. So what are you doing? This is pretty much everything you wanted to touch base upon with the Kickstarter?
Yeah, I mean this is kind of the deal.
I gotcha. So what are you doing to get the word out though? We were talking, you mentioned that a couple times that you felt like that's what you need to kind of improve upon. So like, what are some of the things you are doing to kind of get the word out there for this book?
Man, I'm trying. I'm on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, trying to post something every single day. I've been doing some different podcasts, some different streams, talking to some people that might be interested. It's tough. I'm in a lot of shops. I'm in a lot of stores. So once I get EK5, I know I'm going to drop it in about 20 stores.
So during these interviews, I love making them a spotlight, on you and your work, but I also like making them somewhat of a tool for other people because a lot of indie comic creators do watch these. Like, what are some of your tips about getting your book into like a comic store? Like, that seems like a pretty big feat within itself.
Yeah, it depends on the store. So all these stores are like, they're generally individuals, right? There's like one or two people that own it, and they might own two or they might own three, but it's really, you just got to walk in, and most everybody is super supportive of independent artists, right? They're in the comic book industry because they love sequential art, right? I mean, you don't get a comic book shop if you don't love sequential art,
yeah.
Right? So even when I was in I used to live in Olympia, and there was a comic book store called Danger Room. And the owner was straight up with me. He's like, look, I'm more of a slice of life. I like slice of life, right? I'm more of a cartoonist's comic book fan as opposed to, traditional comic book fan. And I'm like, all right, well, that's super cool. But he was still super excited to support El Crudo, get it up on the shelf. He let me put up like little shelf banners, like point of sale stuff. He let me put up a poster in his store. So most comic book stores, if you go in and you talk to them and you say what's up and you say I want to put my book in here, what do you think? I have met very few that will say no. Right now the terms are a little bit different, right? Some will say, okay, but I only do consignment, which means you put it up, you check it in a couple months. If you sold some, I'll pay you for it. Yeah. Others will buy it straight up and say, okay, I'll give you half off the cover. So whatever the cover is, they'll pay 50%. I bet you it's 40%, 60%. 40% will just pay you half the cover. They'll say, okay, whatever the cover price is, I'll pay you 50%, and I'll take 3 of each. Yeah. But you got to put them up and all that stuff. And then the other half will be like, the other 60% will be on consignment. But so when I'm on consignment, they'll tell. So they usually have like an independent comic book section, and ours sell generally better. We have like really, I think our covers kind of pop. Our covers kind of stand out compared to the competition. So I don't say I make a lot of money in stores. The hardest part with the selling them in stores is that it's like 9 months between I come out with number 1 versus number 2. Right. And
then you're competing with weekly releases or monthly releases.
I'm competing with weekly, but the people who bought 1, like, they have to wait 9 months to read 2. It's really hard in stores to get that continual business, right? Because most comics, they come out every month or every couple months. So it's really tough to get somebody who likes El Crudo, buys it in a store, isn't in contact with me, doesn't engage with me on social media, doesn't engage with me on my newsletter or email, and to get them to know that EK2 is even out. You know what I mean? They have to stumble upon it.
What do you do to fight that mailing list or some sort of thing?
It's super tough. So what I do now is I accept that. I kind of assume that anybody that buys El Crudo in a store, it's their first time seeing El Crudo. It's not that they bought El Crudo 1 and they go back into the store looking for El Crudo 2. right? Because there's that 9-month delay, they'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I package them and I'll bundle all 4 of them and I'll sell all 4 of them. So I have 1 through 4 published, right? I'll bundle all 4 of them for $1 amount. It'll come with a print. It's similar to like a Kickstarter package, and I'll charge for that. And then I'll sell a couple singles on the side. So I'll have like singles available. So if you want to go in and just buy El Crudo 3, for example, you got 1 and 2, you want 3, you can do that. But then I'll also have a bundled package.
The bundle.
And I sell the
smart.
bundles. I sell the bundles and I don't sell the individuals. I really don't. So I assume that anybody that's buying El Crudo in a store, it's the first time. And that's kind of been my experience. The store owners also generally know their clientele really well. A couple times, it's happened to where I'll go in and they'll take my book and they'll put it in people's boxes, right? Because they know who would be interested in it, and they'll put it in their pull box. They're like, I'm going to put it in this guy's pull box, and if he wants it, he's going to buy it.
And that's something you really can't put a price on. That, that's you just going in there and making that relationship with them. Like, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, you just got to talk. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of comic book stores. I used to live in Southern California. There was like 15 that I could drive to. Mm-hmm. Then I moved to Oregon, and there was like 2.
I got one 20 minutes away from me. I have to drive to another town.
So it's not reasonable. It's like and calling somebody up, and I just haven't had success with that. So
yeah,
what I'm describing really only works if you're in an urban area.
Hey, but you never know. There might be someone who's watching who never thought, and they're like, you know what? I never thought that the bundling them together and selling them is like such a smart move too, because like they're able to get 1 through 4. I know as a consumer myself, like it kind of like I'll jump into one that's already started, but it's easier for me to start with issue 1 instead of starting with issue 3. You know
what I'll do is I'll get the Silver Age bags, right? So the Silver Age bags are a little bit bigger, and I can fit 4 books in a Silver Age bag. Right, so I'll put the 4 books in the Silver Age bag. I'll put some prints, some stickers. I'll put my card in there, and then I'll put a sticker on the front that says, X number, $25 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've sold a few of those. But
oh man, and the little stickers have to like I love getting stickers. Whenever I get a comic and there's a little sticker in there and I'm not expecting it, it's such like a pleasant surprise. I'm sure like that has to have some sort of like some feedback. People coming back. Or at least knowing, who you are and how to get a hold of you. So like with those stickers, do you have like any sort of like website information on them, or is it just like your logo?
Oh yeah, I got a QR code. You can scan it. It goes to our website.
That's genius. Yeah, that's genius.
We have El Crudo 1 for free to read on our website. So you can scan the QR code. It takes you right to El Crudo 1. We're trying different stuff. Definitely Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook have been, and even Reddit. Actually, there's a pretty good indie comics scene on Reddit. That's been the direct link that I've seen.
I heard it was kind of hard to break into the indie comic scene on Reddit. Like you basically don't want to post your project without like being like kind of cemented in, like being active and talking and contributing before you submit.
I try to contribute. It's tough. You're right. It's tough. It's definitely that karma thing is real. But anybody that makes indie comics or anybody that likes indie comics, dude, they see something new that's cool. Like they're into it. You know what I mean? People are. If you like indie comics, you're into indie comics. I mean,
so real quick, I like asking once again, because since you've had such good success, this could be such a good learning tool. So before we wrap it up, with your Kickstarter funding so successfully, what do you think went into that? Like kind of just the following that has grown through issue 1 through 4, or was there certain things that you did from having previous experience with the Kickstarter that kind of helped you like propel this one forward?
We had a lot of people waiting for El Crudo 5. So El Crudo 4 was successful, as I mentioned. And then I had a couple family things come up. So El Crudo 5 was like maybe 3 months. I started the campaign maybe 3 months after I wanted to. Mm-hmm. We had a lot too many family issues. I couldn't execute. So like on the first day, I think we doubled our goal on the first day.
Wow.
I think we were funded in the first 2 hours. I did a stream.
Congratulations.
I just kept sending it out to my as I'm doing it. And like I mentioned, I probably have a solid like 45 to 50 people that are like, they follow my mailing list, they follow our they follow the campaign, they follow us on Twitter. and send that out to them and say, hey, it's there, and everybody just swooped in right away. So that was good.
Did you
but
do
now,
like? Oh, sorry. Did you do any sort of like pre-launch with the campaign for people like to get notified on launch?
did the pre-launch. So I normally tweet like maybe once or twice a day, say what's up to some of my friends, just check out what's going on. I always search hashtag indie comics. So that's pretty much like my daily routine. I might spend, 20, 30 minutes seeing what's going on, saying what's up to people. Right before my campaign, I made a bunch of like memes and GIFs and GIFs and images and all this stuff.
They're
stuff.
nice though. I seen you post a couple of them on, and it's cool because it not only does it incorporate, like you're able to do that gifting with other people in the thread, but with your own like comic. You know what I mean? Your own like El Crudo instead of just some random dude. Like it's awesome.
Yeah. So I build up that. So I'll spend like a couple hours, and put together a bunch of stuff. Twitter has a great thing where you can schedule tweets. So right before the launch, like maybe like 2 to 3 weeks before the launch, I like doubled, tripled my activity on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. A lot of it was scheduled tweets. So I can go to work and I know that I'm tweeting out something, a different image or a different something every whatever, saying, hey, Kickstarter's coming, Kickstarter's coming, Kickstarter's coming. Kind of build up that base a little bit. And it was slow. It's always slow. Like it's really, there's so many good comics out there, which is great. It's a great thing, but it's really tough to get people's eyeballs on it. Yeah. But I build up that material of just like try to do something different every single tweet, try to have a different image, a different whatever it is. And build up that pre-launch and launch. And as soon as I launch, I do an email campaign through my website. So anybody that purchased through my website, I do an email campaign through, I have like a mailing list. And I just try to post and engage. And, every time somebody backs, I retweet and say, hey, thank you so much. And
that's awesome. Yeah.
Try to keep it going. But I think we're kind of at that middle campaign lull. Like I've kind of been sitting within a couple $100 for a while. But I think we're ready to blast off.
What do you do to kind of combat that? Like stuck in the middle, that has to be kind of like a defeating feeling. So like, what are you kind of doing to kind of push through that?
I'm talking to you today, trying to do streams. I'm trying to do streams that I normally wouldn't do. Like I don't think I've ever been on your stream before. So trying to branch out a little bit, just being consistent. I think that a lot of people will see the same thing like 50 times and maybe not click on it, but maybe the 51st time they'll click on it. Oh yeah. That's kind of my philosophy is just keep going. Just don't ever give up. And sure enough, like, I'll get like 1 or 2 backers a day. It's not like a lot, but there's people that I don't recognize in the names. Yeah, right? So clearly they saw it somewhere. And in what?
You got 20 days. In 20 days, that ends up being 30 to 40 backers.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'd like to hit 100 backers with this campaign. With EK4, we did like 90 something. So I'd like to hit 100. That would mean a lot to me.
And at 66 with 10 days, that's phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah, I got one on the stream. So
really, dude, let's fucking go. Like I get so hyped. I get so hyped when people back off the stream. Oh, Olivia, Claire, and Dad just backed you a few minutes. Thank you so much for backing, Olivia. We definitely appreciate that.
Yeah,
I get so excited when people get backed on the stream. We had one happen yesterday, and it's like for me because like when I do this, I want to give you the spotlight. I want people to get comfortable with you. People are more, you want to buy from someone you're comfortable with. So that's why we start with who you are, and then we go into the campaign, build it up. And when someone backs, like for me, that it makes me feel like I'm doing this good. So yeah, dude, thank you.
It definitely means a lot. I mean, everybody like, that's kind of how this indie comic things go, right? Is it goes one fan at a time. Mm-hmm. Like you really just have to get in front of people. And that was the hardest part with this whole COVID thing was that I used to just go out on the streets and like hawk my book, but I couldn't do that during COVID. So
yeah.
I can't wait to get out in front of people. And it's so much fun engaging with people. They see this thing and like see the script. Now, granted, 9 out of 10 people will walk right by. They're like, I don't want anything to do with comic books or crazy monkeys or opium fields or anything. But every once in a while, that crazy person will walk by and be like, "Hey, what's that?"
And that's all it takes.
And then it's super cool. And then because I used to hang out like on the weekends, like I'd go there Saturday for a couple hours, and then I'd see that guy or gal a week later, like, "Hey, dude, I read your book. It was crazy, man. Like, when's the next one coming out?" Like, that's super cool. That's super cool. So I missed that. Hopefully, I can find that outlet again soon.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Random American, you think people are fun? Where is this mythical place? Touche. But we have come to one of my favorite parts of the episode. We do have to wrap it up. It's a beautiful Sunday. I have two eager kids upstairs who are ready to destroy some park around town. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start wrapping things up. And I like always finishing the podcast off super strong. Like I said, I like this to be a tool for any indie comic creators out there watching. So if there is anyone out there watching and they're struggling to just get started with their idea, maybe it's their short story, their El Crudo, what type of advice would you give them to just get started?
You got to get it out any way that you can. So even if it's just on pen and paper and loose leaf, you got to just get it out of your head. That's the step number one, is you have to, whatever you're dreaming about, whatever that's literally, I want to find some examples here. Maybe I don't have them. Just get it out. If it's a drawing, if it's a writing or whatever, just get it out. And anything that you do get out, share it with somebody. It doesn't do you any good to write your opus and have it sit on a laptop somewhere, or draw something, a concept, experiment, and then not show it with somebody. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with anybody that will take the time. And then start at whatever speed that you're able to. I would not recommend getting a bunch of money and just dumping it into a project, because there's a huge learning curve. In fact, once you read 1 through 5, you'll see our learning curve. Storytelling, using the medium, colors, printing, all these different things. So start with character design. Work with, hire somebody off of Fiverr, or if you're not an artist and you're a writer, hire somebody off of Fiverr, hire somebody off of Craigslist, hire somebody off of ArtStation. Do some character design, start exploring your ideas, get different people's perspectives on your ideas, and then start building from there. So do environment design. Environment design is super critical, right? Style is super critical to your storytelling and the sense and the feeling and what it is that you're trying to entail. So all of those components will add up into a concept, and then you'll have a concept. You'll have some character design, you'll have an environment design, and you'll have like an art feel, assuming that you want to do any comics. And then that will help you share your concept with other people. And then you have to, because indie comics is a team sport.
Yeah.
There's a couple geniuses that can do the whole thing front to back, write it, do the art, right? There's a couple people that can do that. Not a lot. So it's a team sport. But in order to get a team, in order to get buy-in from a team, you have to have something tangible that can communicate what it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So work on building that tangible body of work. If you send a Word doc with your script to an artist, it's going to be a challenge for that artist to really understand your emotions and your feelings.
And visualize it.
So it really helps to build up some character design, build up some environment design, build up some stuff that you feel represents your idea the best. So then when you're pitching to an artist and you're like, "Hey, I got this idea for this thing. This is kind of what I'm thinking of the character. This is kind of what I'm thinking of the environment. This is my feel." And then that will help them really embody your work. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend. Start small. Just start chipping away. That
was such an awesome response too. I think you offered a lot of good information, where to start, how to start, and just how to layer it up. Wow. Once again, Manny, I really appreciate you stopping on, breaking down El Crudo, breaking down just issues 1 through 4 and part of, issue 5 and just the campaign. I really appreciate getting you on at this time of day too. Man, it's such an awesome interview. I just loved every bit of learning just the ins and outs of everything. I can't wait to read. You said issue 1 is available free on the website. We do have that in the description on YouTube and Facebook. So be sure to check that out. And then once this is fully funded, when can people look to get their hands on the digital?
Digital will be released right after the campaign closes. Historically, I've delivered the digital at the same time as the print's gone out. just because I don't want the people with the digital to get it sooner and do spoilers.
Yeah,
and stuff
that makes
like
sense. That makes sense.
I might do that, but last time when I did that, I don't think anybody posted any spoilers. I just don't think my audience is big enough. so I'm not.
It's always better to play it safe, though, you know.
So I might do that. Yeah. So I might do that. I might send it out. I might send it out when I send out the print edition, which is the print editions are going to go. They're probably going to go out the first week of June. So that's about the time frame. I'm about 5-6 weeks out from start shipping out packages, and getting people to work.
All right, well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for such an awesome turnout. Olivia, thank you for backing the project as well. We definitely appreciate that and love to see it. I hope you guys all have a fantastic Sunday, but most importantly, guys, I hope you keep it geekly.